It wasn't nothing to you, but it was something to me to have you just up and walk out like that. What you think happened to me? Did you ever stop and ask yourself, I wonder how Vera doing?
I'm Jaden, and I'm 18 years old. I just turned 18 in October, and I've been doing theater since I was in first grade, so about like 7 years old. This is gonna sound strange, but my role model has always been Denzel Washington. I watched how natural he was with the camera, and so I guess that just like inspired me to want to be on camera and just on stage in general. I have definitely felt that race is a barrier in my experience of being like a thespian of color. And I think that like it stems from the fact that when you go into an audition, the director, whoever like the casting director is gonna the first thing they're gonna see is the color of my skin. And I think that they're going to from then on like have this opinion already in their mind of like who I am. It's always a worry of like them thinking more about my race than of my like actual talent and casting me because they want to fill a quota. To other people it seems like the reason I get cast or like the reason I'm in the drama department or the reason like people like the director like likes me or something is just because I'm the token black person that they have to like save or raise up. My experience being the only person of color in like an all-white cast has been kind of hard, honestly. It definitely feels very isolating. I feel like I'm always having to like prove myself in some way or like represent for the rest of like my race or like for the people who come after me. And so having that added pressure, like while also having to like be sociable and be fun, because if I'm not like smiling or like being happy, people will think like, oh, she's just like another like angry like black girl, or she's being like moody and like not happy right now, like why is she so sad. I've had the thing where people have called me like an Oreo, which means black on the outside, white on the inside, and people have been like, oh, you're not actually black because you're doing theater, and that's not like black people don't do that, like black teens don't do that, black girls don't do that. And so I've definitely felt the pressure from stereotypes, and I think they play a huge role. I get typecast as like the comedic character, like the comedic relief character, and I think that like it takes a toll on you because then from then on you think every time you're gonna go into audition that's what you're gonna get cast as, so you prepare for that. But I think that's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of whack, if you ask me. So I participated in the August Wilson monologue competition for the past 3 years. And basically what it is August Wilson is an African-American playwright, and he wrote a cycle of 10 plays over the course of like, I don't know how many years, but he wrote a cycle of 10 plays, and they all the plays demonstrate the African-American experience. It has been one of the most like fulfilling and amazing things that I've ever done in my life, and I'm so entirely grateful for the people there, because without them I feel like I wouldn't have had the opportunity and like to be in something like this. Like the best thing about it was the fact that I got to learn about myself as an African American woman through the competition, and learn about just the African American experience in general. Like because at my school there's not a lot of black girls in my grade, first of all, and in just the drama, and especially in the drama department. So I think just seeing people of color, people who look like me, all in a room together, like working on things that they all care about, was really fulfilling and exciting. So the monologue I chose for the competition this year was a monologue from August Wilson's play 7 Guitars, and the character, her name is Vera, and she's like a 20-something-year-old, and she lives in Chicago. She lived in Chicago with her fiance Floyd, and in the monologue, Floyd has just come back because he left her for another woman named Pearl Brown, and he's coming back to like beg Vera for forgiveness and come back to her. And in the monologue, Vera's kind of like, oh, no, you can't do that. I'm not gonna let you come back. Like, that's whack. And so I chose this monologue because I thought it was different from the ones I had done before. The character of Vera really spoke to me in her way of just like who she was, and how she was speaking to Floyd sounded like really human to me. And I think that August Wilson just has that way with like words. Like, he has a way of like phrasing things that like sound like someone would actually say that, like a person would actually have this conversation with someone. And I found this monologue to speak to that a lot. And during the August Wilson monologue competition, I felt like my race was viewed positively all the way. Like, I felt like I could, because the words were written by a black playwright for black actors, I think that like it felt like I could fully embrace who I was when I was saying the words, and when I was up on stage in front of an audience that was like primarily people of color as well. Something that bothers me is like when people are like, oh, like I'm colorblind, or like race shouldn't exist. It's like, it's bad. That's why we have all these problems. I don't want people to forget that I am black, or like ignore the fact that I am black, because there are privileges that other people have in this world that I don't have, and if those things just get ignored, then it's like the problem's not getting fixed. And I also want directors to be making conscious decisions when they're casting people of color. On one hand, that is problematic, but on another hand, there does need to be representation, more representation. I think that a way to combat racial inequity in institutions would be to just have more conversations with people of color, so you can figure out what the right approach would be. Because it's different for every institution, I think. What kind of art you want to do for your institution is also like really important too. Like, do you want to put on a play that was written by a white dude that has like a mostly like white male cast, or like white cast in general? Or do you want to like show more plays that are written by a diverse group of like authors or playwrights and stuff? A lot of people nowadays will say that like, oh, racism doesn't exist anymore, sexism doesn't exist anymore, and that is so wildly wrong. Just because we don't see it in the same form that we did before doesn't mean the system is still doesn't mean that the system is not still intact and is working constantly to like press people down. And I think that people with privilege definitely need to like make space for the people who don't have as much privilege.
And all I have is a little bit of nothing, a little bit of touching, a little bit of myself left. It ain't even here no more. What you looking for? What you remember? It ain't even here no more. Thank you.